So, prison as a decorated cage, accepting false ownership and freedom. One of the things that I note in a lot of my homeless recovery videos is this idea that I didn't want to decorate my part of the room. So it was a four-bed room when I was at the Salvation Army, and I was at the back, I think, off to the left. And I noticed that some of the women who were in the room, at least one or two of them, they decorated it. They actually had um, pictures on the wall, and I'm not talking about pictures of people. They had like pictures on the wall, and they decorate, and they had bedding and pillows and all that kind of stuff. And I said to myself, I'm not going to decorate this. What is what amounts to a cage? I'm not going to decorate it. No, I kept the bedding that they gave me, but I knew that that place was going to be temporary, and I knew that I was not going to return. I did have sort of like a minor setback because of a situation with an ex who's now an ex, and then I ended up having to stay maybe like 3 weeks um, at Dallas Light. But then after that, I have not had to go back to the shelter, not once. And from 2013 till about 2022, I stayed in an extended stay, and I didn't necessarily decorate it, but I knew I needed to put down some roots in order to pursue financial stability. So I did kind of make it somewhat a home. I mean, not home, but a place that's of peace or something like that. But once I knew that I was going to move to my own apartment, and that's where I am now, 2022. From 2022, I knew that that I could decorate where I am now, and I have truly decorated my place in peace and in freedom. So then, when you're decorating a cage, that's accepting false ownership as if you have rights to that cage. Because if they want to do a shakedown, do a search or something like that, they're going to toss everything you got in that cage. Sometimes in a trash can, but definitely on the floor, for which you're going to have to now pick up that stuff and um, um, fix it back, right? And so it's a false ownership and freedom as if you have the right to decorate that. Even when you are living in a motel, you can't take the furniture out. You have to accept the furniture that's already in the motel. You can't tell them, I don't want the sheets in here. I don't want the covers. You can keep them. I'm going to buy my own covers and sheets. You can't do that. You can't take the towels out. The towels belong to the property. So the desk and the chair, you can't tell them to take it out because it's um, um, taking up too much room in the room, right? You can't take out the refrigerator. All the different stuff. That place is not yours. When it got to the point where it was getting time for me to leave, and it was getting kind of strained around there with the person who was the manager, uh, the 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 attitude that broke the camel's back was when the manager told me, after all the years I had been staying there, and he was just mad at me. After all the years I had been staying there, that I couldn't have my window open and the window air conditioning unit on all the years. But he decided to provoke me all those years I had been there, and I had my window open just slightly, and that was just to get air in there. Because I didn't want to leave the door open because I didn't want someone to bomb rush me and try to rape me or something like that. So I kept the window open, but I'm the kind of person I have to have the air conditioning on, and it wasn't central air; it was a window unit. So it's not like it's really pulling from a central AC, like if you have the window open in the air and it affects the light bill. It really wasn't like that. It was just a window unit. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I knew it was time to go. Because I should be able, if I'm paying rent, wherever I'm paying rent, I should be able to run the air the way I want to run the air, unless it is central air and you're living in a house. If you're living in a house with somebody and you're not on the lease, you're not on the deed, the house deed, then you don't have rights. You only have the rights that you have in the room that you're in the bathroom that you use, and maybe the kitchen that you use based upon the rent you're paying. That's it. When you walk around your parents' house acting like you are running the place, that's false ownership and freedom, because the person can kick you out. When you live with somebody and you sleep on their couch because you are in transition, you're considered homeless. You're homeless. Just because they let you live with them does not mean that they cannot also kick you out. You have to be on the lease. That's where you actually have some kind of ownership in the situation. You don't own the property, but you have some form of ownership and freedom. But when you decorate a cage thinking, hey man, don't touch my stuff, or when the guards come in and they do a sweep or something like that, you don't own that cage. You have no ownership in that cage. So why decorate it? I think some things are good for you to do in terms of your mental state. It may help to put a put a flower up, a picture of kids or something like that, and it's definitely helpful to keep it clean in there, right? But you also have to remember you don't own that place. That is not your place, and so definitely don't decorate it. When you come out and you go to a halfway house, you don't own that room. You're there for a season. When you come out and you have to live with a family member, you don't own that place. You're there for a season. Have a plan of exit, because the longer you decorate it, the longer you believe you have rights to it, and you don't have rights to it. You can be moved from one unit in a prison to another unit just by will alone. At any time, they could decide to move you. So when you're thinking about decorating the cage, don't prison as a decorated cage. You remember every time you go back and forth, you remember how you decorated it before, and then you increase how you decorate it while you're in. And so then you have to gather up all that stuff, because you're not going to put it in trash. You gather all that stuff and then you take it with you where you're going, like in this little netted bag, and then you spill it out, and then you put it on the new wall that you have. But you don't put it in your new place. And so I want you to get out of that mentality of decorating cages, because even the person's house that you're living in for the moment is still a decorated cage. All right, so now that you've gotten to the end, this is you can visit, subscribe, and follow. My website is reginayfavors.com. Then you can visit my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ Regina Y Favors. And then I have an author store, reginayfavorsauthor.com. I also have other types of websites as well. So thank you very much for listening.